Hello angels, and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to touch base on the topic of the dark night of the soul. If you saw my intro from last week, I mentioned it when I was explaining my awakening process. But today I want to cover what it is, why does it happen, and 8 signs of how you can recognize it if you're actually going through it. Okay, so also I do want to mention this, so that in all my videos, if I cover a topic like this, I will always give some advice towards the end of the video to see if there's anything that you can get from it. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, sign number 1, traumatic event. Something challenging or difficult has to happen in order for it to be triggered. In the tarot, we like to call it the tower moment. So an unexpected event happens for it to basically be triggered. So this can be a loss. In my situation, it was the loss of my mother. So this could be a loss of a loved one, loss of a job, loss of home, any type of traumatic event, accidents, anything. When this happens, it's basically the universe trying to shake you to your core so you're able to basically wake up. When this happens, this is the beginning stage of the dark night of the soul. So with that, let's go to sign number 2. And that's going to be attachment, or feeling like you basically are not releasing and you're holding on to something and you're feeling stuck at the same time. So I know this sounds a little bit confusing, but let me get a little bit more explanation. Basically, when you are holding on, let's just say, for example, to it can be a person, it can be a thing. So say you're addicted to alcohol or any substance abuse, and you can't release it. Your life is going to basically be going in a circle because of this behavior that you can't release. So with that said, it's an attachment. You're attached to the alcohol. And you're feeling stuck because your life is going to continue to revolve around the same toxic, whatever it is, person. Like I said, it can be a person or it can be a thing. So it's going to keep going around and you're not going to be able to move forward. So you're just going in an endless circle, basically. So what you need to basically recognize is that in order for you to feel unstuck or unglued from where you're at in your life, you need to get rid of whatever it is that you're attached to. Okay, so let's move to number 3, and that's going to be depression. This is a really big one, okay, and it's going to go with number 4 as well. So number 3 is basically you're going to feel unhappy. You're going to feel like nothing matters in your life. This is the part of the depression. And you got to really be careful with this, because all these feelings start surfacing and making their way up that you have kept suppressed for years and years and years of your life. You can feel shame, guilt, regret. So when all this comes up, you're going to feel isolated. You're not going to feel like doing anything. You're going to not talk to your friends. You're not going to talk to your family. You're just going to feel stuck, like you're going to stay in bed. You don't want to go to work. You don't want to eat. Or maybe you overeat. So you're just going to be in a very, very dark place. Okay. Now, number 4 goes along with number 3, because this is where fear comes in. Number 4 is fear, crisis. So this depression is basically a crisis. So then fear starts coming in, fear of what can happen next, fear of, like phobias too. You don't want to go out because you just don't want to be around people. So in this state, suicidal thoughts come in, and it gets really, really scary. Okay, so number 5 is going to be beliefs. Anything that you've ever believed in, you start making changes. So if you were very, very religious at some point, you basically start questioning those beliefs. Why isn't God helping me? Or why wasn't I protected? I have so much faith in my religion, and I go to church every Sunday. Or I lost, my husband or my wife, and you start questioning basically, well, how did this happen? Why did this happen? Okay, so then you start moving a little bit towards other methods like spirituality, and this is exactly what happened in my situation. So you start stirring away from the beliefs, and then you start stirring to or moving towards something that you have more belief in, and you start getting more faith in. Okay, so number 6 is going to be you become very sensitive. So empathy, you start empathizing with everything. So you become a lot more emotional. Within this time that I've awakened, I can't sit through a movie and not cry. So you become a lot more sensitive to other people's feelings, animals, and you just start basically, at a drop of a dime, you can start crying for absolutely no reason, and it could be sadness or it could be happy. So it's just your feelings start getting really, really a high vibrational state. So you become a lot more sensitive and a lot more emotional. Okay, so number 7 is going to be synchronicities. You're going to start seeing a lot of repeated patterns of stuff. It could be, numbers on a license plate. You can start getting signs, in a license plate, it can start telling you something, it reads, it's just a sign. Or you can start seeing repeated numbers like 111 or 1111, 555, or you'll start noticing and become more aware of these synchronicities happening. And last but not least, number 8, that's going to be your thought conscious. Okay, you're going to start becoming, your intuition's going to start raising, so it's going to become a lot more heightened. You're going to be more aware of your thoughts. Everything that comes in, you're going to start noticing. Okay, so when you actually start getting into this stage, you start being more aware of your thoughts and what's coming in, what you're processing, and what's actually going out. Okay, so this is very important especially when you start getting to the stage where you start wanting to manifest. This is going to be a very, very important part of why a lot of awakened people can manifest a lot more. They're actually better at it because they're more aware of their thoughts. So let's get into why does this happen. Okay, like I mentioned, the universe is going to try to shake you to your core to try to put you on a better path, to try to make you that better person. So you're not feeling stuck. You're not in that same revolving pattern of bad behavior or whatever it is. And it's always going to happen where that one thing is always going to resurface. Whatever it is that you're doing wrong, that's the thing that's going to come up. Okay, so basically it's letting you, in a sense, die. Okay, so you're basically going to go through death. Not literally, but your soul. So it's trying to tell you that this soul is dying and there's rebirth. Okay, so this is why this process happens. It wants you to end that part of your life so you can transform and start over. Basically, it's just, you know, an erase board. You're basically leaving that in the past and starting anew. However, some people will not get a grip of this, okay, and basically don't do anything with it. And the longer you resist it, the longer it's gonna last. Let me say that again. The longer you resist it, the longer this dark soul, this dark night of the soul will last. Okay? So, what else do I want to say on that? Basically, you're going to go through a purging process. That's exactly what it is. It's a purging process. Now, my advice on how to handle this is going to be it's pretty simple. You basically face it head on. That's it. It's difficult. It's scary. It's challenging. Yes, I know. But you have to basically just remain calm, go through the different stages, and remember, number 8, you're going to become a lot more thought conscious. So when this starts happening, you can start recognizing, like, your ego's basically going to die. Now, this ego's going to try to come back and try to tell you, no, you're not strong enough for this. If you start thinking that thought, you become aware of it and you basically delete from your head. No, I am strong. So a good way to do that is anytime a negative thought comes in your head, you replace it with a positive one. And you'll get so used to this that you'll start doing it all the time. And this is how you become a more positive person. Okay, your negative thinking really starts narrowing down when you start doing this. Okay, so just remember to not succumb to the darkness. And this is why it's called the dark night of the soul. I'll also explain where this derived from in a little bit. So just remember, have faith in the power of the universe. It's basically doing this thing. It's a reset for your soul. Believe me that it is basically a healing process. Even though it may not look like it while you're going through it, it may not feel like it when you're going through it, but it is. It's going into reset mode, and it's basically going to come back and you're going to feel healed from it. So hang in there as long as it may take. Don't challenge it, don't resist it. And that's the whole reason why you are here, is basically to live your best life. So where did it come from? The dark night of the soul is basically derived from he was a saint. So he was a Spanish mystic saint in the 16th century. His name was Saint John of the Cross. And he wrote a poem basically about this. And it was supposed to be, he made this poem to refer to it as a journey of transition from your old soul to a new soul. And the main idea was to have a transformational journey while you're going through the suffering process, basically. So that's where it came from. And people have been doing this and going through this process ever since, the 16th century. So people, as they started going and recognizing what it was and linking it back to St. John of the Cross, they were able to basically figure out how to handle it. And this is where the spiritual awakening comes in. You will become an awakened soul when you complete the process. So again, with that, I will conclude this video, and I'll be happy to answer any of your questions down below. Also, all my contact information is in the description box. So if you have anything that you want to ask or comment or feel free to do that. And my next video should be up hopefully by next Saturday, next week. And we'll cover more topics then, okay? Namaste.